right, so I guess let's get started. Here we are, first episode, Curious Conversations with Matt. I'm here with Kumar Mehta, the co-founder, CDO, and former CEO of Versa Networks. Kumar, why don't you introduce yourself? Go ahead.
Well, Matt, it's a pleasure to be here on your podcast. And I'm flattered that you selected me as the first person to speak to. And I look forward to our conversation.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. What better way to reach out than someone with inside the company and reaching out to one of the leaders and former CEO. So let's go ahead and kick it off. So let's start. Let's go way back here. Tell me a little bit about your story. From Juniper Networks and then going into Versa.
Prior to Versa, I was at Juniper, and that's where I'll start my story from. And Juniper story is really a different one. I was entrepreneur and resident at Sequoia Capital, but a friend of mine who was working with me at a previous company before Juniper contacted me that he set up a meeting with the Juniper founder, Pradeep Sindhu. So I said, yeah, let's go and meet him, no problem. And when we went and spoke to the founder, he said he wanted to compete more effectively with Cisco 7600 and also have a solution for the metro Ethernet. So we presented a plan to the founder after a few meetings. I believe Juniper wanted us to help them build the team and the product, which was named MX. To be honest with you, rest is history because from that product line, Juniper in the last 14 years approximately have done a cumulative business of $20 billion. You would take some billion here and there. What about $20 billion? Which is very satisfying because for us, we are builders and we like to have a product in action. And perhaps every packet which goes through the internet passes at least through one MX router somewhere in this world. So every packet is touched by an MX router somewhere. I think there's nothing more satisfying than that. Perhaps any packet you said is going through one MX somewhere.
Wow, that's pretty awesome right there. Now, going back a little bit further, did you study, cybersecurity in college or?
Well, so that's been, cybersecurity itself has been a continuing education kind of stuff for me. When we were going to college, it was like one of the subject, but not really something which was at that time top of the mind for people because, when we went to college, the internet was still was actually not even there, to be honest with you. Okay. So there was never that access to anywhere, any place people had.
You were in the Iron Ages. So you were doing.
Yeah. It reminds me of, well, no.
So how did
this joke where this kid looked at the old TV with a big hump at the back and said, Dad, I don't know what there's some like closet at the back of the TV.
Yeah, and nowadays it's flat. Hey, Dad, where's the screen at? What's this big box in the living room?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. So how did Kelly and Apurva, get bring into the mix here with you?
To be honest with you, Apurva is my brother. So we worked together we've worked together since I'm thinking 1997. We know together.
It's before I was born.
And so we started the company, myself and Apurva, which is Versa. And we started, I believe, end of 2012. And Kelly joined us in 2017.
Awesome. So a little 5 years down the road, and there's obviously a very close relationship you guys all have.
totally right. And Kelly, the first time I met Kelly is at Pankaj's place where he was when they both were at Cisco, and that's where I met them first time. I believe it was I'm guessing maybe 2014, 15, something like that, 2015. Maybe somewhere in that ballpark, 2015, 2016.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about that another time too, and I plan to connect here with Kelly as well. But let's continue on. So what's been on your mind recently that you'd like to share with some of the listeners?
When you do a company, to be honest with you, Matt, there's always dots here to connect, whether within Versa or with my own family, as well as with customers. And there's always that motion which happens, and it's always top of the mind for us at this point.
Good.
So without any specific, I would say that is that is something that's on top of mind. Well,
Good. And even going back even more, I think Versa Networks being founded by two brothers. I mean, that just develops a family raised company. I mean, you have morals, values, traditions all lined up within that. I mean, that's pretty unique.
yeah, and actually, you bring up a great point, Matt. Um, when you start the company with somebody like a brother or sibling, any sibling, in general, you'll argue a lot. But what happens is, at the end of the day, there is that trust, which at the end of the day, you'll have each other's back.
Right.
So, on the one hand, people may have apprehension starting with the sibling, but if there is generally not an overlap of talent, where I bring in my expertise and Apurva brings in his expertise, we have certain overlap, but not a huge overlap. Where problems happen is when you have huge overlap, then there is tension. But if they don't have, if you kind of complement each other, you don't have that much tension. And I can kind of correlate back to what the Jennifer's founder, Pradeep Sindhu used to say, you two brothers really complement each other well. And he's been, I've been with him for about now. But Juniper itself, I was with him at 8 years. We did a lot of important projects for him. He knows us pretty well, but that's what he's.
Awesome. I mean, that's so cool to have, a tight relationship with your brother, and then, building a foundation as well, building a company. Now, would you say that you've actually gotten closer with your brother because of, starting Versa?
We've always close, Matt. I would not say that Versa helped us get closer. It's just that, as a matter of rule, what I was saying that when you have siblings do something together, I feel that if there's overlap, there's going to be tension.
Right.
Each one will get it another way. If there's less overlap, the better it is. It kind of works out.
So this might be tying into the previous question, but what made you want to start Versa Networks?
Well, so when we were at Versa, we kind of saw 4 macro trends which are going to happen. Okay, one was more and more automation was going to come into the infrastructure. Second was I felt that there was no network worth having without security built into it, because eventually what happens is that that without good security, the bad actors get into your sort of virtual house, whatever that may be, your enterprise or whatever, digitally, through internet or through network. So the network and security has to go hand in hand, what we felt. The third thing was we felt that the hardware was going to get more and more decoupled from software. So with the innovation cycle, normally what happens if you combine them all, and the software innovation cycle is hamstrung by the hardware innovation cycle, and the hardware innovation cycle takes time. You can get one product out after 3-4 years, or software you can get out much faster, and and so on and so forth. And then there is always the you can always exploit merchant silicon much faster than doing it in house. And lastly, the way to do business in the infrastructure was going to change from perpetual to subscription. So those are the four macro trends we saw. We felt that the incumbents, being public companies or being big companies, will have hamstrung catching up with this macro trend. Over time, they will, but to change a certain culture within those companies, like they are selling hardware and making money, if they are selling perpetual and making money, it will be a difficult change to bring it into the sales force. So overall, we've been pretty right about this, and you know, our companies done well. So those are the four things we wanted to we saw in terms of macro trends that we start.
I mean,
It's that Matt, I would add one more trend to it now, which is how we bring more and more artificial intelligence and machine learning into managing the infrastructure. But that is not what, when we first started the company, though that was not one of the things we have.
right. I mean, and with technology changing rapidly, I mean, as we speak right now, I mean, you have to learn to adapt. And I mean, what better way to get in front of it and be the pioneer in this and, converge everything into one? I like to use the word synergy. I mean, I think that's what Versus stands for.
Totally right. It is a synergy. And also, like you said, when you get ahead of things, you will constantly improve, you constantly learn things. The other people you will go through the same learning, basically. And you would just would have solved the problem before they get to run into it. So it's always good.
Yeah. All right, moving on. So, I mean, what are some top 3 takeaways that you would provide to the listeners here for being where you are today?
I would say, from a perspective of what got us here to start Versa and to make it successful, are 3 things. Okay, one is hard work. Another thing which can replace that. Second is passion. And passion is a weird thing. A lot of people will say, "Hey, if you like, if you're passionate about something, then you should do that." But really, there is a little bit of I would say, a little bit of improvement to that concept, where it's not just about being passionate about something that you'll be successful. You not only have to be passionate, but you also have the capability to do that, right? Be successful. So the passion and capability both have to come together. So that's the number 2, passion. And number 3, adaptability. Because in the end, life throws at you a lot of curveballs, and if you don't adapt, well, then you're not going to succeed. So those are 3 things: hard work, passion, and
Yeah, and I think that also ties into how each one of us were raised and your morals as well. How you want to drive yourself, your character, build yourself even more. Build your brand, like they say, and develop that and grow.
well, the funny thing about since you bring up how you are raised, if you've seen hardship when you are being raised, you'll be a lot more resilient. Uh, and you just will be a lot more, I would say, a lot more, you'll have a lot more willpower to
Right.
succeed. You would not give up easily and all of that. So, kudos to those folks who come out of the abyss and be successful.
That famous quote, Rocky 3, when he was telling his son, as long as you get back up, it doesn't matter.
Totally right.
So, and I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to roll up our sleeves and get back to fighting.
Yeah.
So, moving on here. So what is your definition of success? That's a broad term, but
Actually, I'm a product builder. So for me, building excellent products, solve customer pain points, and by virtue of building good products which solve real customer pain points, get customer acceptance is success for me. People who say, oh, success for me is title, money. Oh, that's not success for me. Those are byproducts.
right.
Doing a job, getting a job, doing a job well done. You know what I'm saying? So I don't choose the byproducts, I choose the product itself.
Right.
Yeah. And that means, building great products to solve customer pain points. And by virtue of it, because you solve customer pain point, you get great customer acceptance. Nothing is more satisfying than that.
Yeah, it's all about the end result. Doesn't matter what happens in the middle.
Right.
So now, if you could have one superpower, what would it be, and why?
And that's a question I kind of have to say it's a difficult question, but I kind of will have to say one thing which I tell other folks. So maybe that kind of ties into this pretty well. Your biggest enemy is not money. Your biggest enemy is time. You just simply run out of it. Okay. If you
That's
have
true.
if you have infinite amount of time, at some point you make money and you do well or whatever it is you want to do in your life. Whether you want to, if and money is a little bit of a bad example. Anything you want to do in your life, you can accomplish that. But many times you just run out of money. So if I have one superpower, which sort of I need, is probably complete control of time.
You'd be King the Conqueror from the new Marvel movie.
Yeah. So because it is true. Seriously, time is unfortunately your biggest enemy. Not money, not this or that to accomplish your goal. And if you can manage your time properly, you can make sure that you're judiciously using it towards the goal that whatever you may have. That's what matters.
Time management is definitely top of mind for sure. Now, moving on from a little funny question right there. What are three key strengths? Why Versa Networks is on top, or why you believe Versa Networks is on top?
I would say the reason Versa Networks is on top is three things. Okay, you want three things. The three things would be speed of innovation. Number two is customer obsession. And number three is great team. Those are the three reasons why Versa Networks is on top. We built a great team. We are very customer obsessed. And our speed of innovation is much, much faster than any company out there who competes with us.
Now, elaborate on the customer obsession.
A customer obsession is like, I think I'll elaborate it more like this, that, it is, so the important thing is some people will say, hey, this competitor is doing this, that competitor is doing this. For us, that doesn't matter. What matters is, are our customers, are we innovating and staying relevant in front of the customer? Are we solving their pain points? Are we giving them good user experience? And are they happy with our support? So that is customer obsession. Customer obsession is obsessed with the customer's happiness.
Like that. I like that. That's a good answer. Now, on top of that, every company has their blind spots. So give me one weakness, I guess, blind spot that you see inside Versa that you can improve on from that weak.
So I think that's another good question, Leo, Matt. I would say that there are some blind spots which you don't plan on, and you just get hit from, the football analogy, the side, right flank, the right flank, left flank. And, that would be like when you ended up with COVID and you got this supply chain issue. And all of a sudden, we had limited product availability because of supply chain issues. That was like a blind spot for us. We had to solve it immediately. those are things which are not within our control to some extent.
And you
That kind
couldn't
of
predict
depends.
that.
Sorry,
I said you couldn't predict that either.
yeah, you cannot predict that. So that is that part of it. But then there are certain things at Versa I would say we definitely could do better at is communicating more internal. So that would be something we should get.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you could go back, before Versa Networks, even before Juniper was even a thought, what would you do, or what would you change?
Actually, so what I would say is, again, life is a journey. Okay, you learn a lot along that journey. Net, what happens is that journey will teach you a lot of things, which if you have to do it again, you'll do it differently. So if you ask me, what are these one or two things which you would do differently? There are so many things I would do differently because the journey has taught me a lot. Okay. And also sometimes even though the journey teaches you certain things, the circumstances which the similar problem presents in the later part of your life may not be the same as when it is presented to you during your journey now. So you need to be careful about just blindly applying what you learned from before into the new circumstances. But at the same time, I think journey teaches you a lot, to be honest with you. And there's just too numerous to list. But I can tell you one thing, Steve Jobs, when he was in the Stanford convocation, he basically said that, that, generally you would not be afraid of death, and death is a good change agent. But one of the problem with death is when you go to the next life, whatever that may be, all the experience you got from the previous life goes back to zero. Because
Scratch.
so
Scratch it off.
so the journey teaches you a lot. Unfortunately, at some point there is a limit to that too. You can't take it to the next life.
Right. And life throws you what they call no cigar. So can't get away from it. Now, what does the term leadership and the word team mean to you?
Oh, actually, that's a great question. To me, first of all, people are the building blocks of anything you do in life. Okay, not this or that. It is people. So the first rule of leadership is hiring the best folks excellent folks that you can hire.
Now, is that based off skill set or experience?
Oh, well, it is actually no one's answer, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not based on skill set or experience. It's essentially, I would say, based on track record. Okay. Because whatever you call, whether it's skill set, like you get degree, okay, that's measurable stuff. Okay. Track record also has to be measured in certain ways. So as long as something very quantitative is there from that, it's easy to understand. So once you hire excellent folks, the next thing is empower them. When you empower them, you also hold them accountable. You just don't empower them. You just don't delegate, okay, here's what, Matt, you have to do, and do extreme delegation. Don't really hold them accountable. That doesn't work for me. For me, empowerment with accountability is very important. The next thing I would say is exhibit empathy, maybe, is extremely important. And lastly, exhibit integrity. So those are few things which I guess is very important for me in terms of building good teams, in terms of exhibiting leadership.
I think recognition goes a long way with that as well.
100%. 100%. Yes. Recognition definitely is very important, but I do feel that one has to be, in general, from a very meditative perspective, one has to be secure within themselves, right? A good job, that they don't need recognition recognition from somebody to feel that they did a good job. I mean, you just have to be secure about that.
It's that what's humble recognition
Right.
you want to have. So good. Moving on here. What are some top trends that revolve around cybersecurity and that you are witnessing right now, and how does that tie into Versa Networks' core competencies?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question again. Uh,
Hey, I'm only hitting you with good questions here, Kumar. One bad question.
uh, so I guess the top trends around cybersecurity, I'd say this, okay, that perhaps are tied into the Versa products in some ways through this story itself. Uh, about 10 to 15 years ago, people started adopting SaaS application, MS365, Salesforce, you name it. Before, all those applications were on-premise. And about 15 years ago, people started putting them online, basically, uh, um, letting customers buy it as a service. Okay. So whether it's Salesforce or whether it's MS365, whether it's Workday, whatever it is, all those, whether your whether it was an HR application, whether your ERP applications, all of that came online. So now what happened is that the folks wanted to get to those applications, and their traffic had to be backhauled all the way to the headquarters and then go to those applications. That kind of did not give a great user experience to our customers. That's number one. Number two, essentially, there was the MPLS was pretty expensive, but at the same time, internet was getting better and better quality. So those two trends were primarily responsible for the onset of SD-WAN. Okay, and it was a story of better value and better experience. Okay, and to add to that, more and more more and more enterprise applications are also moving to the public cloud, whether it's AWS or GCP or Azure. That's where they are moving. So that's the second trend out there, where more and more applications are moving to cloud. The third trend is sort of what happened because of COVID. We did have work from home, but not at a level which is there right now. And the hybrid work environment became more of a norm than an exception, where more and more people wanted to have a few days in the office and a few days working from home and be productive rather than stuck in the commute. So the trend number two, so all this trend, whether it's hybrid workforce and whether there was acceptance of SaaS applications by the enterprise or the applications of the enterprise moving to the cloud, all of that three resulted into providing security in the cloud itself. And that's where we have our secure services edge products, which provide you the security wherever you are, whether you are on-premise or whether you're in the cloud or whether you're traveling. Anywhere you are, we provide you the security. Having said that, the combination of SD-WAN, secure SD-WAN, and a combination of SSE gives you security with the best user experience. Sort of like when you travel business class by some of the airlines, they'll come and get you from their home in a limo, check you in, and get you to the plane, and from the plane they'll get you to the destination in the right way.
I don't know about you, but maybe you get picked up in a limo. I'm the one on my bike right to the airport.
No, I'm just giving an example of what some of the airlines do. So having said that, combination of SD-WAN and SSE is just that. Without that, just the SSE alone, which some of our competitor has, is like going to the airport by yourself, standing in the line, which is probably not even PSA pre-line, and then going through this long line, getting to the plane, and the plane will take you wherever. So, and may not get it the fastest route. So that is SSE. But SD-WAN with SSE from Versa gives you that that class A experience of user experience with full security.
So they're riding first class all the way.
Yes, exactly.
The way. So now back to cloud migration, do you think people adopting this idea of going into the cloud is, the best solution for them? And what about the people that haven't adopted it? Are they going to get left in the dust?
Well, we are seeing definitely there is always in life, there is always going to be lighthouse customers, early adopters, and then the laggards. And we are seeing a few things now. We are seeing more and more laggards accepting the technology of moving to the cloud. Not only that, we are also seeing the cloud providers provide a certain regulatory based framework, which is by vertical. So if you are a finance, you have a finance cloud within the public cloud, which has certain extra consideration versus if you are some other enterprise from a different vertical. So we do see movement to the public cloud, but there are some regulated entity, like whether the Defense Department of government, or whether also the highly regulated finance companies, they are not going to move to public cloud just yet because they need more control than and rightly so than I would say the regular enterprise, which is out.
Okay. That being said, where do you think cybersecurity, or rather, technology is going to be in the future? I mean, we talked about artificial intelligence earlier. Now,
I think so. I think I would say that the whole infrastructure, which means security / networking, needs to be more predictive, and which means it has to be more and more AI ML driven, and that is where I believe the industry will end up. I think if you look at maybe 3 years down the line, the whole infrastructure is going to be a lot more predictable than it is today, primarily because of the maturing of the AI and technologies out there. That's what will.
But you don't think we're going to have Terminators roaming the earth?
Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the way artificial intelligence is going, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they got that Chat GPT now, other things like that. So I guess, that being said, if we're not, adopting into the cloud, the next step is, are you adopting artificial intelligence into your company? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you have to. I think artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to get adopted. Okay. Now, hopefully, let's put it this way. Hopefully, the AI ML technologies will not cause. Well, let's put it this way. Will hopefully cause the employment to shift from where they are right now because of AI ML, that they'll move into other areas where their skill set will be needed.
Now, do you think there's going to be any, I guess, drawbacks with inside the workforce with artificial intelligence, ever increase?
In general, today also, cyber workforce is very hard to find in general in the enterprise. And that's one of the reasons why there is that thrust to move more and more into predictive technologies, which I am on. And I believe that will help find the bad actors faster, sooner, and with less number of people.
Okay. Now, you said you get picked up in a limo to the airport. So if you only had $1 million left, what would you invest it in?
That's an easy question, man. I would invest in Versa Networks. I can force multiply it 100 times.
Hey, there we go. Best answer right there.
Yeah.
So now moving further, if you were stranded on an island, you only get to bring 3 things. What are they?
Well, so I would still come stranded in the island. I would like to first survive. So in order to survive, what would I need? I'd need probably a knife. I'd need a matchbox or something, box of matches. I'd need probably a fishing net. What happens if nothing grows on that island? So I better at least eat fish.
Right.
Those are three things I'd like to take. However, I have a fourth thing, which is, I'd like to take my best friend, my wife, with, if I can have the fourth thing.
That's awesome. I'm glad we talked about that. I was gonna say to all the listeners, if Castaway 2 is coming out, featuring Kumar Mehta as the main character. But speaking of your best friend, you said your wife. How's that relationship? With Versa Networks, and obviously you'd have to have someone with support behind you. And
it is extremely important, Matt, because I'll give you an example of what Elon Musk said of doing a startup. He said doing a startup is chewing glass and staring at the abyss. And these are not easy things to do. These are hard journeys you have to make. And it needs tremendous sacrifice from both family and friends. And in order to keep everything intact, it'd be good if you and your best friend, your wife, goes through the journey together. So each and every one of you can understand the pain point better and not demand the impossible. And the other example also sometimes is that, let's say if you want to marry a doctor, and the doctor has all these goofy times, they will be on the call in the night. The baby is not going to stop coming out at some special 8 to 5, about any time. If the wife or somebody has to go and do night duty, and if you're not used to that kind of weird hours, your better half keeps, and you have a problem in your life. So similarly, I think the startup thing is hard, and you really need full cooperation.
So having that support system behind you is vital to growing.
Very vital.
And on top of growing, I mean, you have to get uncomfortable. Like you said, Elon Musk said, chewing glass and staring into abyss. Obviously, that was a very uncomfortable thing to do. You don't take it literal, but I mean, you have to get uncomfortable in order to grow.
Yeah, it is. This thing is not for the faint-hearted. I can tell you,
Right.
This journey.
So, what is your favorite part of your job, and why? And then, what is your least favorite part?
I'd say the favorite part of my job is to build great teams, bring great folks on board, build great culture, create autonomy, maybe. Autonomy is important based on track record, create autonomy based on track record, maybe. Collaboration, helping others, and solve challenges each day brings. That's the best part of my job, is just those few things. Is get great people to come and join Versa, give them autonomy with accountability, essentially help others, and solve challenges each day.
That's not just with employees; that's with customers.
Yeah, I mean, the customers also, the challenges would come from any direction, right? Could come from employees, could come from your investors, could come from from your customers. So it is not unidimensional. It doesn't mean internal challenge. It could be an external challenge.
Okay. And speaking of customers, what would you tell, I guess, existing customers or future customers of what's to come? What would you say?
I would say that Versa will be definitely a pioneer in AI/ML driven infrastructure that will make their life easier by making the infrastructure more self-managed and self-healing. That's what we're talking about. Sorry. Yes. How do you make, we're going to make this whole, we're going to be the pioneer of the AI/ML driven infrastructure And the whole idea is to make their life better by making that infrastructure self-managed and self-healing.
Right, and take that load off of them.
Yeah.
Have work as hard.
I mean, you really, you want them to go home in time. And if the infrastructure was self-healing, self-managed, they won't have to chase issues that in the infrastructure, because the AI ML driven infrastructure will solve those problems as they happen, and even foresee problems if they're going to happen in the future.
So, if you could give one message, what would it be? And it's to the competitors. What message do you have for the competitors out there?
Frankly, you ask me, what does customer obsession mean? Versa does not care about competition. It cares about customers. Okay. And we build the best and most versatile solution for our customers. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we are always listening to our customers. Their goals, their objectives, their wish list, such as securing their asset, resources, applications, and providing the best user experience to them, and in the process reducing their OpEx and CapEx. So that's one dimension of where we are listening to our customer. The second, obviously, is to solve their pain points itself, is where we want to make sure that we are making a difference. Third thing is that we are focused on staying relevant to our customers and providing value to them. Okay, so that is important to us. And the last thing is we are focused on keeping our customer happy and satisfied. So those are four things which are important to us. Now,
I'm glad you gave me a list of four. I only asked for one. Keep going.
Yeah. All those things are very much on the customer obsessions direction. That how do we build the best product? How do we build products that are relevant to them, solving their pain points? And how do we make sure that the experience is extremely good? How do we support our customer in the right way? Is what is important. That we don't worry about competition. Competition is not important to us. Customers are important.
Right. No. So I used to work in the service industry, and being in the service industry, you learn the number one rule: the customer is always right.
Which service industry you worked in?
I was bartender, server. I was a Publix bagger at the age of 14.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was bagging groceries, putting them in paper bags, and you always had to bring the cart out to the car. If you didn't ask, you probably would have gotten fired. I don't know. That was the Publix promise. So I think that ties into every company, though, is customer satisfaction.
And then
Sure.
Again, those are most important building blocks in running a winning company or running a winning enterprise. You can't be worried about competition. You have to worry about how can you be better of yourself. So it reminds me of Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
One of his Oscar speech, he said that that I want to be the best as I can be, and after 1 year, I come back and say, well, am I good enough? And the inner voice says, no, you're not yet good enough. You want to get better at what you're doing 12 months down the line. You should watch that speech of his. And that's what is important.
I'm going to have to take a look.
How can you incrementally improve every year, every day of your life?
Right. So what is one final thought you want to leave the listeners with today?
There's a book by Paul Coelho called Alchemist. It's you can get it in Amazon. I would say I really believe in one thing which he said, that is, if you are passionate, if you are hardworking, and you are laser focused, then the universe will conspire to make you successful.
Now, do you believe that the universe comes full circle?
Yeah. Well, the universe conspires to make you successful. And that is from this author's book called Paulo, The Alchemist. And I really believe that that's true. That if you are passionate, hardworking, and laser focused, the world conspires to make you successful.
You'll get there. Hey, I mean, we got to dream big. And if you can't dream big, then, find something else, find something you're passionate about, like you said. And, big dreams, they fall hard, but once you hit them, you just dream even bigger.
Well, I mean, I think if you followed some of the things I told in the early questions you had, clearly, you can get surprised by things which are completely out of your control. But generally speaking, I think those roles will get you somewhere. And hopefully, whoever is dreaming big, that dream will come true.
Right. You just got to stay on the path.
Exactly.
So is there anything that we haven't covered today that, you'd like to say before we close out?
I mean, I would say this, I don't know if we covered or not covered, but I think this is very important for your listeners to know that Versa is customer obsessed, not competition obsessed company that is focused on building great products and solving customers' high value pain points. That's the most important thing for us. We are customer obsessed, not competition obsessed. Focus on building great products that solve customers' high value pain points. That's what matters.
Well, Kumar, I liked everything you had to say today. I just want to say thank you for hopping on Curious Conversations with Matt as the guinea pig here. You were awesome. I look forward to seeing you down the road as well. Thank you again, Kumar. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure to be on your podcast, Matt. It was a great conversation. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to be on your show.
Of course. Have a good one, Kumar.
All right.